you sound good. Can you hear
Okay, because
us?
I can't hear myself. So all right,
Oh,
whatever. It's all
okay.
good.
Perfect. I do the
Yep.
same. I do my best work when I can't. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, on that note, everybody, welcome to the Midweek Howl, a very special Midweek Howl, the one that you guys didn't know you wanted, but you're going to get. So joining me and the Ozark Howler is probably one of my favorite guests, as long as Mark Muncy isn't listening. One of my favorite guests that we have on the show from time to time is the great Stacy Brown Jr. So I am in the catbird seat here. I get to witness history of this two-way, because I'm not going to even be able to say anything, but we wanted to do something special for all the crap that's going on around the country with the drones. And so I wanted to bring in Stacy, who's got some definite ideas, the Howler, who's got some ideas, and just, guys, I want to know what's going on in the country right now with the drones. Don't go down, don't go down anywhere else.
Glad you clarified.
Yeah. So of course, the big thing in the news is there's drones everywhere. And in fact, I saw on the news this evening, just before we came on, the typical, they pose no threat. It's no big deal. Look the other way sort of deal, from the spokespeople, even though I have seen, and now granted, you can't always take everything you see obviously on TikTok or whatever, because there's no real frame of reference. But I know last night here in Ohio, a coworker of mine, she and her husband, like less than 5 miles away from me, recorded a whole bunch of these drones out in the middle of, or lights, I should say. I kind of don't like the fact that they're labeling everything drones, because I don't think that's the case, and I think that's just
what's the definition of drone?
Well, I mean, isn't a drone like that main?
I mean, maybe we should look at it. Well, no, the original drone is the drone bee, correct? In the beehive, aren't they the drones?
Yeah, the worker, right, the worker kind of bees.
So I'm just trying to think of who the FAA or whoever named drones. Why were they named drones? I mean, unmanned aerial vehicle or what? I mean, I thought that's what they called them, didn't they?
Maybe they watched Star Wars.
They don't even know if they're unmanned, right? We don't even know.
We don't know anything. We don't know anything.
Somebody does.
Well, yeah, of course.
I think I'm going to throw it out right here. I know we're only 2 minutes into this or 10 minutes, whatever. 100% the United States government knows where the bulk of those things are coming from. 100%.
Yep.
They're either ours or they're China's. Point blank.
Now, would we just
hold on? Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
National Guard patrols the eastern seaboard out of Atlantic City, New Jersey, right adjacent to the FAA Technical Center. I guarantee you, if they had any kind of the Aviation Transportation Security Act 2002 puts a whole series of events in play that when they got something that's not responding back to them, they launch right there F-16s. They're going to fly up there and check it out. Okay, so they knew within either one of two things happened. They launched it and found out that it was nothing, or they realized it was nothing because they're in on the deal. You know what I mean? And then I think there's a bunch of copycat drones now. Did you see the thing where the guy with the old farmer by the cornfield throws the stick up and hits that ag drone?
No.
So it's big. It's big. I mean, it's surface area. It's probably 6 foot square or 6 foot pentagon shaped or octagon shaped, like an octagon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess they fly these things over. They map these. This was like a big seed corn plot. I mean, you know what a section of seed corn would look like.
Mm-hmm.
And they had strips of like a CRP or something in the middle for like erosion. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And this thing had a. I guess it was just mapping the area of the surface is what I think it was doing. Mm-hmm. But a guy our age, was hiding there in the corn, and he had looked like a broomstick, and He threw it up and it hit one of the flight and crashed it.
Oh God! Oh my God!
Yeah, and crashed it. So what I think has happened is now everybody and their brother that's got an ag drone or got a drone wants to fly up there and see if they can see what they
Intercept.
are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now what was 2 or 3 government, either China's drone spying on us or we were doing some kind of testing stuff, and now you've got all the copycatters. You know what I mean? But they 100% want it. They 100% know what it is, and I would say that the reason why they're not telling anybody is because they're China's and they're embarrassed.
Really? What do you? Okay, so what do you think? What do you think, Stacy? Then because I know you've been pondering this.
Yeah. So okay, I'm in 100% agreement that they know what these are. Okay. I don't share the same thought that they would be ashamed. This administration has no shame. It is absolutely the worst administration of my lifetime. And I mean, what did we find out this morning? That the whole Q2 jobs report was made up. It was all BS. The jobs have been terrible, and the Fed's been hiding it from everybody. So, me personally, and this is where the conspiracy stuff starts going. You've heard him drop things like that guy rushed to judgment, and he's like, "Oh, there's an Iranian mothership that sent him out here." Can you tell me what an Iranian mothership would look like? Like, how many camel power is that? Like, seriously, these guys have been trying to enrich uranium my whole life that I know of, and that's 40 years. They ain't on the, if you look at the IQ levels of people that live in that region, it ain't high, bro. It's right there with the mental retardation level. So most of Iran can come over here and get a paycheck if they want to. But I guess that's what everybody else is doing. However, I think that they threw that out there. So they're itching to go to war with Iran. That's all they want. You've seen Ukraine also kind of back down out of these talks with Trump, saying it's not going to stop. We're going to hold the line here and keep the Russians out. I almost want to believe that they're going to do something, or they're trying to do something before Trump takes office. 100% what I believe.
Like what?
The only thing I can think is that they might. I mean, you hear the fake alien invasion stuff, the Project Bluebeam. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that, but that's a okay. So it's it got leaked years ago, and who knows if it's real or not. But the government would fake an invasion of aliens to bring the world into a one world government. You know, they can then control all the currency and everything of that nature. I don't know that it's that. I almost think we're about to Pearl Harbor ourselves again, to drag us into a war with Iran, into a war with Russia. They're going, oh yeah, we found out, and it was us doing it to ourselves to feed the war machine. Because I mean, Republican or Democrat, dude, you can just look back at our history. We constantly stay at war. And there's got to be a reason for that, right? It's money. It always comes down to money. Now, they're like, oh, well, they may be searching for a dirty bomb. It's been known for years. Back in 2014, I was working for a company called Fringe Media, or it was 15. It was right when Trump was running, and he was talking about the borders wide open, So I snuck into the country, right, and went all the way to New York City. But the plot of the story is that I had one of these 86 suitcase nukes that were missing from the Cold War. And I took it all the way to Manhattan, and nobody messed with me the whole time. I was dressed like a Chechen rebel, bro. Do-rag, sunglasses, camo on. I went all the way to Times Square and mock detonated that device. I don't know that they would use drones to search for that, because when I was doing that project, I found that they have things in place now that if there is a device within the country, they don't need these drones to do it. This was, far before the drone technology, at least to the public, was anything of like that nature. So I think what they're trying to do is just drive the hysteria up, and maybe they end up pulling a Pearl Harbor or like a 9/11 or Gulf of Tonkin type incident, false flag, to where they can drive us into a war. So when Trump does come in, if they let him come in, I mean, can you imagine if a nuclear device got set off in New Jersey or New York? I'm sure we would all be locked down. Yeah.
But I got a question for you though. Who's they? Who is the they? Because it is not the administration that's in power now, and it's not the administration that's coming in. It's got to be, there's somebody else that's they. Because
it would be the Dick Cheneys, the people that run these, huge companies that provide our security, or like our munitions and all that stuff, Raytheon, BlackRock. It's those people that sit up there in the press boxes at the DNC events when they're up there talking about the billionaires got to pay their fair share. It's those people, the billionaires, sitting up in there and watching everybody. I will be the scapegoat. We're faceless. We're pulling the strings on everybody.
What do you think about that, Howler?
I think you're giving these bureaucrats, you're giving them too much credit. That's what I think.
I do too. I find it funny that we talk about how inept in one second, how inept the administration is, no matter which one it is, but then turn around and then give them so much credit that they can get together.
Well, the government and administrations are just blindly, it's like saying the team is great or the team sucks, right?
Yeah.
No, you can usually narrow it down to a handful of people that run everything, and they either suck or they don't suck, and they hide behind the guise of the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, when this first came out, this is what I thought. I told you the FAA Technical Center's there in Lansing, New Jersey. It's an old naval air station that Senior Bush, old man George Bush, learned how to fly. They've got about, I think it's either 3,600 acres or 7,000 acres. The highway divides it, and it's just got pine trees. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Big fancy chain link fence around it, and Wacken Hut or whoever contractor of the day is driving around. And they always said that they couldn't develop a lot of it because back when it was World War II, it was like a bombing and attack range to teach pilots, so they don't know what ordnance is out there. But part of that has these gigantic hangars that they test all kinds of airplanes for the FAA. If Boeing's going to put this new engine on the 787 or whatever, they have giant engine stands that hold like an engine off a 777. You know what I mean? Something the size of half of my house. You know what I mean? So when story first broke, I thought those guys are testing something. They didn't report it to the locals, or they didn't do that. Be like us three be drone testers on Thursday or whatever, and we take off and do a whole bunch of shit. And then you're saying, did you call the locals? And I said, I don't know. Did you call? Shane didn't call. Nobody called. And then the horse left the barn, right? So it's our shit, and it's just out there now. So what are we going to do? And that's the very first thing I thought.
Well,
would government ineptitude,
Well, would we actually let China fly over with drones?
I don't know. They let a balloon go from freaking Alaska to South Carolina before they shot it down. So you tell me.
Multiple balloons. Wasn't just one. That had been happening for a minute, and they didn't even tell Trump about it. You look at the puppets there now, and all of our politicians are on the Chinese bankroll, I feel like. But when I was a child, my dad taught me something. He told me, don't ever show your full cards, meaning act dumb. When I'm in a room of people, I still do it today. I'll act like I'm stupid. Just sit back and let everybody talk. And just let people underestimate me, you know, not think much. But you never underestimate your enemies, right? So when it comes to the federal government, I think they very well are up to some type of constant nefarious behavior. You look at what came out of 9/11 with the Patriot Act, right? The constant surveillance that we're under now that's unconstitutional, but I guess we're just rolling with that and we don't care anymore, right? Most likely there'll probably be something of that nature come out of this, if nothing else. We don't ever find out. I promise you, sitting up there and listening to my Orcus the other day talk about we need more authority.
Yes, and I don't understand what
he said we need.
Because
he said we need more authority.
I heard you say that. But they got all the authority in 2002.
Exactly. What else do you need? Like, this is just a totalitarian state trying to impose its will upon us slowly but surely. You pull a little bit of freedoms now. They know what to say. You know what I mean? That, like, this dude is a dumbass, but he's getting told he's playing his role and he's playing it good. And he may be acting like he's incompetent. You know what I'm saying? But you pull a little bit of freedom away here and nobody bitches. If you pull it all at once, you got a problem, you know? So in that little interview he did for, I guess, MSNBC or whoever it was, he mentioned we need more authority 4 times in like 3 minutes.
Yes, I watched it. And that's what I mean. I thought he was on repeat because he didn't know what else to say.
Right. It's alarming though. Like if you read the tea leaves, that's all that's going to end up coming out of this. And eventually
we're going to read. That's what I'm saying. I think then people are just trying to run the clock out. They got about 45 days and they're just trying to get across the finish line right now.
You don't think that any of them are afraid of prosecution?
No.
Really?
The best.
They're all on the same team. That's the problem.
Future behavior is past behavior. Trump didn't prosecute anybody the first time, did he?
He did not the first time.
Because
he ain't going to this time.
No, they're all in. Look, they're all in this together, and all Trump really wants to do is set himself up and his family or whoever just to make money when he gets out. He doesn't really care if there's drones.
I don't agree with that because he's the only president that's lost money. But
he never lost any money.
Brother, him being the president was very expensive for him. Really was.
Do you know how much money he got to charge the United States of America for rooms and everything at all his hotels when all the time he spent there? He charged the government for all that time. He made more money off of Secret Service and other people coming to the White House of the South or whatever and playing golf on his own play. He made more money than he ever would have renting rooms out to people going on vacation. And he did not lose money, or else he wouldn't have done it. Because if he's the greatest businessman on the face of the earth, like people want to, you think he's going to do something to lose?
The one that's been in office. He's the best one that's been. I don't know.
I don't know. Lyndon B. Johnson knew how to make money.
The Biden crime syndicate clearly knows how to make money as well. And I wonder how much of that cocaine we paid for that Hunter Biden's been doing with the prostitutes that we didn't get none of, by the way.
I don't complain about that. I don't want prostitutes to blow. I just wish they wouldn't buy so many bullets to shoot at everybody in the world.
There you go.
So this is what I kind of think, and this is, you guys have a different look at this. I actually think that there's something else going on up there, and
what do you think it is?
I think that we are engaging with some extraterrestrial stuff, and they don't want us to see what's going on, so they are flooding everywhere with these drones, these ships or whatever to take us. Because I have seen videos of stuff that are not drones flying around that are engaging with some of these drones. Okay. And the drone loses almost every, the couple videos I have seen. In fact, I don't know if you guys saw the, oh gosh, the video of the people's radios in their cars going crazy.
You sent it to us.
Yeah. Oh, did I say? Oh, yeah. Okay. I said, hey, look, I don't know. I get sent so much stuff, but I think there's something, and I don't think it's maybe huge, but it's something going on, and to distract us away from that, I think they're doing all these other smoke and mirror shows, dog and pony shows, to kind of take our focus away from that. Because if we're losing our mind over some drones flying around, how bad would we be losing our mind if we were fighting aliens? If we were witnessing.
First of all, is that many people really losing their mind?
Yeah, well, here's what's funny.
Just the 3 or 4 million people that live online and on the daily news cycle. Now it's filled the vacuum from the
Diddy parties.
The Diddy.
Well, that too. Yeah, maybe that's what those guys are looking for. The drone.
Baby oil. They need some baby oil to. They think we might have some available.
Political cycle being gone, so we got to figure something else to talk about.
Well, that's a good point, because, like, I think it was last week, when this stuff was happening, I was looking up some stuff online. My wife, her mom, and their cousin are all standing there. They had no idea any of this was going on.
Yeah.
They're just like, what are you talking about?
I was at a 3-hour meeting last night, and we talked about all kinds of stuff, but drones never came up. New Jersey never came up. New York never came up.
Never came up.
China, I don't think, came up. Iran certainly did not come up.
Now, I did hear last night, I think it was a senator who, they had like a live hearing or whatever, and he said that this is the one part that was kind of crazy to me, that he said him and the sheriff were standing on the beach the night before, because the night before that, 2 of his deputies had been standing on the beach and saw 50 drones come over the water, over them, and go onto land. They called the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard sent a ship out, and the Coast Guard ship had 13 drones following it. Now, I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like, how does the sheriff, how does the Coast Guard, people tasked with protecting, those places, not know if it's our own government doing anything, just like running exercise?
But our task with protecting, as long as those drones aren't breaking any laws. I mean, they're protected. I mean, shit, we let carloads of illegal aliens and all kinds of people go traverse the highways, so we don't just screw with them for safety reasons. Why would we start with ET?
Well, you notice they didn't fly the drones over the South. Right? It's all up there where nobody wants their guns. They keep the ammunition in one safe.
That's not true. They were in Arizona. They were in Ohio.
Oh, it's bigger than that then. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere, and it's not just the United States. They were reporting drones over in England.
Only in our allies countries.
In the same time. That's all I heard. That's all I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay. But they also, a guy I write with from New Jersey said they've been seeing drones and stuff out of the ordinary since the summer up there. Up there. He himself has seen a couple different weird sightings. And I guess if you don't know, I mean, the average person, if you don't really know what you're seeing, you may not know what you're seeing, and
that's profound. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And you may be seeing something that's logical and supposed to be there. And I mean, look, the first time I was out here mowing the yard and the crop duster flew over the backyard and about knocked me off the lawnmower, I was ready was ready to call, like, what the heck's this guy? And then you realize what's going on, you know. It's just when you see something out of the ordinary, I think your first reaction is maybe to
shoot it.
No, I don't shoot.
Yep.
I'm a mailman. We're not allowed to have guns.
Are you serious?
I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, what?
They don't want him to go postal, man.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's where the term comes from, huh?
It is because
Yeah, back in the 70s.
In fact, Howler, didn't I just send you that article where the guy was that in Missouri or was that in Texas?
Missouri City, Texas.
Missouri City, Texas. Yeah, there was just last week, I think, a shooting at a mail processing center. One guy shot another guy and killed him. I mean, this time of year is rough, man. This time of year is rough. It's rough. So Stacy, then what do you think the end game is to all this? You think they're really, the Project Bluebeam, and they're gonna try to, I don't jump into conspiracies like that because I'm kind of the same thing as I don't think that stuff is. I think conspiracies are much smaller. I don't think they can get to a grand scale like that. I think it's one or two people, maybe three or four, that could pull a conspiracy or something off like that. I don't think in the grander sense, because anytime anybody tries to get together and do something like that, they fail miserably.
Like with the moon landing? They failed miserably at that one. But it's interesting because you had the whole Cliff High prediction.
Yeah.
Did you know about that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was fascinating.
So, like back in the 90s, Cliff High, or maybe it was early 2000.
No, it was the 90s, and
okay,
Cliff High is a physicist.
And he predicted like the 2004 tsunami in India and some other things, but he predicted that in 2024, Joe Rogan would interview Donald Trump, right? And then 39 days later, the alien invasion would begin.
Well, what Cliff High did was he created a program because as a physicist, they had come up with this working theory that all of us, the three of us and the rest of humanity, kind of live in this collective consciousness, okay? Mm-hmm. And we don't realize it, okay? Which, if we all believe we're come from God, a single entity, then we would be of a single consciousness in a manner of speaking anyway, okay? So he created this algorithm, this searching AI searching algorithm thing, because he thought if you could go through social media, look at our posts, the way we talk to each other, our likes, our comments or whatever, it would show patterns that we unconsciously created through our social media interaction. Okay. And so they would have they found certain events that took place or that were predicted to take place. But each one of these events had to have a trigger event. Okay. And so this it was supposed to be an event where 2 weeks ago or whatever, maybe it was the December 7th, 8th or whatever. Third? Okay, third. There was supposed to be a UFO battle that took place in the skies above America, and that we, the Americans, picked a side in this battle and fought alongside
Venus versus Mars. What do you mean picked a side?
Picked a side, like the Greys were fighting the Norwegian, like whatever, and we picked a side and fought against the one warring faction. Okay, the trigger event, which this is what was crazy, was the trigger event said Trump or Rogan interviews Trump on TV. Okay, so they got this trigger event in the 90s. And at the time they said, at the time he was like hosting Fear Factor. They had no concept that he even had a podcast. They had no idea what this meant.
There was no podcast in the 90s.
No.
It was like late 90s, I think, because he had like Joe had just been interviewing people in his basement, like him and his friends, and it was like Justin TV.
Yeah. That's what it was. But it was something that nobody really paid attention to or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, but they're like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would this be the trigger event? And then lo and behold, he goes on the Rogan show, and the Cliff High didn't want to come out and say, okay, this is going to be 39 days later. It was the guy that his assistant, or the guy that was, in on this with him. He's the one that came out and said, hey, 39 days from now. Well, guess what? On that date is about when this stuff started blowing up with the drones. It was kind of crazy, So so that's what that is. It's so far out of left field, but then it just kind of ties in just crazily. I don't,
See, that's why that was the one reason, because like, okay, all his predictions and stuff he did out of the 90s, nobody remembers any of this stuff. It's just something they started saying right now.
Yeah, that's right. What I mean. How do we fact check this guy?
Exactly.
That?
Yeah,
exactly. Right. And why hasn't Rogan had him on? Because I know Joe's heard about this, but that it almost seems like a psyop. Like, hey, now we're going to try to put it in. They've been doing these disclosure hearings where they don't really tell you anything. They just make everybody be glued to the TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same old song and dance. If aliens were coming to this planet, if it was actually aliens, why wouldn't they just land in Central Park?
Yeah, why would they even go to New Jersey in the first place?
Exactly. I wouldn't go there now.
I love New Jersey. It's got some great stuff, but it's just, if you come from Venus or Mars, if you come from some other galaxy, why would you pick there?
Well, you're assuming that they're just showing up now, okay? I think if anything's coming, it's been here, and it's well aware of,
like cowboys and aliens.
Yeah, it's been here observing us, part of what we've been doing, and they just are like, why do we want to mess with these people? They're crazy.
So you could be an alien then.
I could be, but I wouldn't.
Or Stacy, right?
I wish.
He makes too much sense.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I wish.
But yeah, and I'm right there with you, Stacy. Like, it's like, but was that prediction so absurd that you don't put it out there because it doesn't make any, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you came across that would probably be on your list of predictions, 200 down the list, because all that stuff together, like, why would you even say that? You know what I'm saying?
Trump getting interviewed by Joe Rogan was like the biggest thing that's probably been watched all year, right? Outside of Elon interviewing Trump. So why wouldn't immediately after that happened be like, yo, guys, 39 days and counting?
Well, they did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. They were.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, they did. They were on. Well, the assistant was on with Tony Merkel, and said all that stuff. But he can't. But Merkel cannot get Cliff High to come back on the show. He's quote unquote busy, but then he sees him doing other things. So it'd be super interesting. But what I'm saying is, though, at the time when you came up with that in your list of stuff, okay, that would seem so absurd that you would maybe not put it out there. You know,
it would be so stupid too. Like, why didn't you predict Bitcoin?
Well, look, a lot of people predicted Bitcoin and nobody listened.
I guess, hey, you want to know the sad truth is I sold some Bitcoin like years ago, about 10 years ago. And
price?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend were talking about it last night. It's like, we should never sold that Bitcoin.
Howler,
I didn't think it was going to do anything.
Howler, have you ever bought and sold any Bitcoin?
I still got the original 1,000 I bought for 92 cents a piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing this podcast.
I hope so, brother. I hope somebody got it, because ours got given to us by my girlfriend's wacky dad, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm so like anti government that I was like, okay, yeah, cool, they're trying to bump us over to a cashless society, I ain't doing this crap, blah blah blah, and didn't.
But that's funny is I have people that talk to me about Bitcoin and says it is the stuff that will keep you, because it's not regulated. It can't be, the government can't.
No, it's completely, they're totally regulated now.
It's all a lie, dude.
100% of
I'm
it.
I'm just telling you what I hear both
That's
sides
what
of
it started out being, and then too many people got involved, and now it's not.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I watched a video on that yesterday from Greg Reese talking about how the CIA was all up in that. How they were, because people were buying things originally thinking that they had anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they could get online and buy things you shouldn't buy, child porn,
like on the dark,
like
on the dark
yeah.
web and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so of course the federales got involved. You know what I mean?
But why would they think that? Because isn't there like a quote unquote digital ledger that keeps track of?
There wasn't supposed to be, though.
I thought that was the original.
I somehow or another you were supposed to be able to purchase stuff anonymously, right?
Yes.
And not have it come back to you, and that was a good thing about it.
Are you familiar with the old website Second Life?
No.
It was a dark website where they created almost like a Minecraft. This is pre-Minecraft, and it was called Second Life, where you could go down in there and be whoever you wanted to be. You with me?
Yeah.
And the metaverse.
Yes, and they shut it down in 2011. It was a big deal in 2010, 11, 12 because the drug dealers were using it. So we could meet on Second Life and do a transaction under, whatever pseudonames you wanted to have in Second Life, and only you and I would know it was us. You tracking what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then Bitcoin was a way, crypto was a way for us to pay for those transactions in the dark web where people didn't know what it was. So you had me selling to you and the Russian arms dealer buying whatever, and just like all good things, the government got involved and
in the transaction with the Russian arms. I think, isn't that a good time?
Well,
to get involved?
This kind of it doesn't really dovetail with your CIA. I listened to a guy talk the other day on the Sean Ryan podcast, and he was talking about what you were saying. He was saying that the CIA, the biggest purchasers of cryptocurrency, there was come to a point where the biggest purchasers of cryptocurrency was the U.S. government.
Well, that's what they want. They want to buy it up and have that become
the theory was that then that allows them. So my buddy, I had a direct marketing buddy, insurance guy, one of those guys that's just been into everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
He called me.
You are that friend of mine. So, okay, go ahead.
I'm speechless now. I've never called you with a good, rich, quick scheme.
Well, I didn't mean that.
From my trailer in Florida, which is where my buddy lives. Now, he used to live where my home. Anyway, he tried to get me to get into Bitcoin when it was 90 some cents.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard of it. And you really had to do a lot of research to even find out what it was. You with me?
And you had to jump through all kinds of hoops to even be able to.
Yes. It wasn't anything. Yes. And a couple of years later, he calls me, and the Winklevoss guys had just got into it, and it was $10. And he's going, dude, see, if you'd just listened to me, you'd make 10 times your money. And I said, well, I guess I missed my window, man. I didn't buy it then. You know what I mean? I missed my window. That's how it rolled with me. But where I was going with that is, this guy says you have the CIA and some of these guys with big budgets from the black budget. Stacy, I'm talking about from the black budget. So they bought into this. If you were a station chief in Europe somewhere, and you could say, okay, I'm going to buy 100,000 of them. I'm going to put $100,000 in there so we have case funds so we can interact with these people. You tracking what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now those 100,000 Bitcoins are worth $100 million or whatever. I don't know what what is it? What's 100,000? They were 106,000 or something, 100 plus thousand today.
Yeah.
So that would be worth $100 million. Now you have the ability to do operations off the books completely because you don't have to go to Congress because your Bitcoin wallet, instead of having $100,000 in it, it's got $100 million in it.
Well, I hope that all those years they were skimming off the top of the post office, off of our, prepayment of our retirees' health care for people that weren't even born yet. I hope they were buying Bitcoin. That's all I can say. I hope my retirement's somewhere.
So I was reading yesterday about how the administration coming in was floating the idea of buying like 25% of all the Bitcoin,
mm-hmm.
right? Getting us off the gold currency, right?
Which we aren't on really.
Which we hadn't been on since 70 something.
But the other countries are, right? So if you know what I mean? So then their value goes down to nothing. Ours shoots up through the roof. I thought it was pretty interesting, but then again, I'm afraid we're going to that digital currency, digital passport type thing. I really don't like it. I don't even like my smartphone, to be honest with you. It's too much. I just want the flip phone. I want to be off the grid in 20 years if I live that long. But
oh man. So in other words, you're not going to have a drone. You're not going to be flying a drone over New Jersey because you want to stay.
No, I'm a cameraman and I refuse to.
Really?
Yes. That I won't even get on TikTok.
Man, you don't know what you're missing. I'm doing all kinds of dancing and singing on TikTok. Hey, you're missing it.
Right?
You're missing
They're talking about the Chinese government's all up in it. I never did the 23andMe thing. So when everybody was doing it, I was like, hell no, they're not keeping my DNA somewhere in some lab. And then it comes out. And that's what they doing with everybody. And like they had sold everybody's data and shit like that. I was like, man.
This is where you messed up, dude. You're supposed to go to work and take somebody else's swab and send a 23andMe under your name and screw them up.
They'd like
gas station.
All right. Well, so the consensus, did we solve anything about the drones?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry. You're saying don't worry about them? What do you think? What do you think, Stacy? Do we need to worry, or are we?
I mean, unless we're going to do like a real January 6th, so they'll stop taking our rights away and then just don't worry about it. Ain't nobody in the mood to do that stuff anyways. We all got soccer games and whatever else we got to go mess with. So, we got to work. We can't worry about the little bit of rights that will be stripped away from us from this one event.
Yeah, sadly, I kind of agree with you that I think what they found out when they started rolling out like disclosure, that only us guys were the ones talking about it. Nobody else really cared. And I think they overestimated that people are too busy with their own lives, that they don't care. They're too, so yeah, it's interesting. I kind of hope that we're battling aliens up there. I got to be honest.
Well, hey, maybe if the aliens promise us like a free Beyonce concert, we'll all show up to it.
What is that? Wasn't that the script of the last M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Yeah, right.
Isn't she mixed up in the Diddy stuff now, or her husband?
They're all mixed up in it, bro. They're all.
Listen. The next thing you know, we'll be mixed up in it. So that's all. That's what I guess.
You speak for yourself, brother. I ain't getting in that mess.
All right. Well, okay. We'll sign off here. We'll wish, because this will be our last new episode of the Midweek Howl before Christmas. So everybody have a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Stacy, for joining us. Thank you, Howler, for always, I know you make Stacy's week every week.
It sucks now because I won't be able to listen to it. I don't listen to stuff that I'm on.
Why? I don't either. I've never listened to an episode I'm on.
I can't
People ask
stand
me
my
all the time,
voice.
and I said, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I'll go upstairs here in a minute, and my wife will say, "What'd you talk about?" And I said, "I don't know." She's like, "What do you mean you just did it?" And I said, "I'm done. I don't even know anymore."
Don't even know. It's on autopilot. Oh gosh.
It's yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
All right. Well, hey everybody, have a Merry Christmas. We'll catch you on the Midweek Howl after the new year. And if you got any ideas on what's going on in the drone world, send us some video. And I know the Howler doesn't care, but me and Stacy will check it out for sure. All right. Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out. God only knows.